trading's like got to be the easiest thing ever, right? I mean, like you get to decide what you're buying, what you're selling, when you're buying it, when you're selling it, and how much you're buying and how much you're selling it. How hard could it be, right?
Welcome back, everybody, to Be the Trader. Today, I have a very special episode for all of you. Today, I have Nico, aka Inefficient Market, with me. He's been trading for 15 years. And if you don't know his story, that's okay. We're going to get a little bit into it and then talk about what he's been dealing with lately, going around this year and moving forward. But again, Nico, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Honored.
Absolutely.
Honored.
So we talked a little bit off camera, and you were saying, it took 15 years. You've been trading for 15 years.
2006. Yeah.
2006. What got you even started, though? Like, you just said, one day I'm going to be a trader?
Yeah, basically. I mean, interest in the markets. I mean, everyone's got some kind of exposure, some story, some history.
What was your exposure?
I knew someone that was investing in the markets, and it stood out to me. And I was like, okay, that's where a lot of that money's coming from. Like, what's the story here? I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
They don't teach it in school. So it was like this brand new thing, and it definitely appealed. The appeal was there.
And then, so whenever you discovered trading, did you just like jump with both feet, or like what was that about?
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. Jump with both feet. I mean, let's figure what this is about. And then pretty soon you start getting hit by a tidal wave so much, you're like, I'm not going to use both feet anymore. Maybe I should just jump in with one foot or figure this out a little bit more. You start learning you don't know much.
Yeah, speaking of that, because I know if a lot of you guys, if you don't know the story, it took about 8 years to get consistency. And we talked a little bit about that off camera. And you were saying, like, you don't know if that is like a good barometer or benchmark for some people to think about because of how you were learning back then versus now. Because like nowadays, you have so much like information, right?
Yes.
It could be almost a bad thing.
Yeah.
But back then, you probably didn't have all that information.
No, I mean, there's so much good information out there now too. But yeah, you're right. Back then wasn't really like it is now. And I also took a more personal approach and was, like, I hold myself in high regard to like, I can figure things out. I can do anything I want. Like that kind of thing. So when I fell on my face over and over and over again trading, I was like, now I'm going to figure this out. So it was like I wasn't trying to reach out or like extend my horizons to look for help or figure out how some people are successful. I was just like, me versus market. I'm going to figure you out, and I think that's a big reason why I ended up wasting. I guess I'll call it wasting. I don't know. It's my story.
Why would you say that? Why would you say you waste? I mean, there had to be some things that really helped you, though. I don't isolated. There had to be.
I only use the word waste because I don't think it could have been that long. I think it could have been a lot less time to be consistently profitable. But that's what happened. That's my story.
Why do you think that? Is there any? Not why do you think, but is there anything that maybe during that period when you kind of isolated yourself that really helped you now? You know what I'm saying? Like, because some people don't start that way. They start to get information everywhere. And then they got to learn how to isolate themselves to stick to what they're good at. Mm-hmm. Or else they get influenced. So do you feel like that might have helped you in some way? Or
my grandfather, my dad's dad, he was obsessed with like Darwin and evolution. And he used to always talk about struggling. It was like my grandfather always talked about the struggle. He's like Chilean. He's like, the struggle, the struggle, the struggle. And I always loved it when he talked about it because in my head, I was just like, trading is such a struggle. Yeah. It just resonated with me.
I want to take this time to say thank you to our sponsor, Cobra Trading. Cobra Trading is the go-to broker for day traders and short sellers. And I'm not the only one saying this. In fact, Benzinga awarded Cobra Trading as the go-to broker for short selling. They have a heavy focus on direct market access order routing, so you have the fastest execution. They have some of the best locate prices and availability. They also have amazing customer service. I've experienced many different brokers, and it's why I use them every single day and why I'm proud to have them as our sponsor. Sign up now by clicking the Be the Trader referral link below and earn 1 free month of software with Cobra and 25% off all commissions. Now let's get back to the show.
So to answer your question, yeah, I think even though all those years was a massive struggle for me,
Yeah.
you know, the struggle is part of the reason you get, you know, the breakthrough eventually.
What was it for you that kind of if you can even like name one thing, and that's fine if you can't. If you can name a couple, it's fine. But was there something for you that kind of near the end of that 8th year when you start to get your stride and start like, okay, I'm starting to get this? What was it for you that was holding you back then?
The first thought is like myself is what was holding me back that whole time.
Can you explain what you mean by yourself? Like, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, trading is like got to be the easiest thing ever, right? I mean, like you get to decide what you're buying, what you're selling, when you're buying it, when you're selling it, and how much you're buying and how much you're selling it. How hard could it be, right? Yeah.
Right.
Anyone that ever has never done it and does it, they fall on their face and they understand it. Yeah, this is way hard. And it's the mental, you know, I think for me, at least, I could speak from my own experience, like it's the mental aspect of like overcoming your own hurdles to reach the other side.
What was that hurdle for you? Was there like one that was just like taller than the rest?
Oh gosh, there's so many of them, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could just highlight the breaking point was finally just looking at myself in the mirror one day, which I didn't actually do, but I just mean figuratively speaking, and just being like, you know, I've been doing this for so long with no success, virtually none, you know, if this, you know, you don't want it to just be a dream. How to fight or flight, you know, like this has to go right now, or this isn't sustainable.
I need you to stay on this for a second because I know for a fact, Nico, there's people right now who are still pursuing it, and they're maybe year 9, year 10, and they might be holding themselves back, right? So when you figuratively ask yourself that question, like, you know, look in the mirror, what was it for you though? Was there some action you took that was different? Like, you know, like what was it that helped you? Because you said you had no success.
Yeah.
Your words were like no success for 8 years.
Virtually none.
Yeah, but you had to learn what you were good at, right? Or what was it? Like, were you just, because then after year 8, it wasn't just like flip a switch and everything for 8 years didn't really help you and then you just changed? Or was it like, was there some things that you're doing really well that you kept, and there's some things that kind of like
a big piece of it was, okay, look, I know I can do anything I want to do. I can set my mind to, but like I've clearly not figured this out on my own. Like just completely like fell on my face like epically, and I know there are people out there that are making this work. So it was literally as simple as like, all right, let's just throw almost everything away.
Yeah.
All my beliefs about the market, all my rules about the market.
Yep.
Let's just think openly, like with a clean slate, and go, there's people that are doing this right now that are successful. How are they doing it? You know, start studying them. What are they doing? And use that as a guide. You know, maybe not necessarily like just outright copying them.
Yeah.
Although like I think we've all gone down that path of like chasing alerts and stuff. You just get smoked
that's
endlessly.
Yeah.
And it's like, how long until you're finally like, okay,
that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's not working. And but yeah, it's just like being open with yourself and to a point of like, I know I can do this, and I know I've failed at it for all this time, but like, let's go. It's time to actually do this.
Yeah, I love that you said being open with yourself and ask yourself, you know, let's throw everything away and start fresh, because 2 things come to mind. Number 1, a lot of people that takes a lot of humble. Like you got to like swallow that pill and be like, you know what I'm doing is not working. Let me go find something else.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do that because ego's in the way, right? Or they don't like, no, I know I can do this on my own. And they stay there.
Right.
And not try to expand or learn some way.
I mean, that was me for 8 years, right?
Right. And you said,
I finally tapped out.
Yep, you
and
tapped
was like,
out.
I'm done. This has to work, or it's just not sustainable.
And what stands out is I know where you are today. Like, we're in a beautiful home, you're training very well, and you just killed it. and you're doing great, which I'm so proud of you. I'm sure you're proud of just what you've accomplished in terms of working your butt off. You know, so you worked hard for
Thank
this.
you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. No one can take that away. And so what I see in you is that like you're able to like look at yourself and realistically give yourself a real answer and not sugarcoat yourself, right? Which I think you had to do at 8 years to move forward.
Oh yeah.
Like you got to be real with yourself and say, hey, you suck here, you're great here, you're terrible at this. Like, if not, you're going to be stuck there and you won't move forward. And I think, would you agree like that trait is something you need like to grow as a trader and become a successful trader?
Yeah, I do agree. And I would just add that I've been on the scene for a while, and I know a lot of traders. I know a lot of amazing, phenomenal traders that are way, way better than I am.
Yeah.
And even if I start before that, even if I was just to say to lower the bar from there and just say all the consistently profitable traders that I know, I think all have a common trait of literally just going through the struggle and knowing that they're going to be on the other side of that. Like no self-doubt. It's not easy. I mean, like there's no like, you don't just get there overnight. I mean, I know of some traders that get there really fast. They're, you know, it's unusual. It's highly, highly unusual, but most people endure the struggle for some period of time, some a lot longer than others, obviously. But I think the lack of self-doubt, just knowing that this is what they want and they're going to do everything in their power to get there, and they're going to figure it out.
During your struggling times, though, sorry about that.
No.
But during your struggling times, because I love what you said, don't have self-doubt, like move forward. You know you want to be here. You know you can be here. You've seen people do it, right? So you have this vision of yourself. But during those rough times, self-doubt had to come up sometimes, right? How'd you push forward through those? Like those times where, you know those times, I don't know about you, but I had times where I was
with eye water, man, just like tearing up. No, I'm kidding.
It's true though.
Like,
hey, I was.
You take a beating. I mean, it's all a part of the struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I just loved it when my grandfather would talk about it. And he didn't even know anything about trading. He was just talking about the struggle in general of like evolution, things evolving, right?
Yes.
Charles Darwin, like things evolving. You know, I think of like a trader, like going from not knowing how to trade at all, or not even really being a trader, to having an interest in the markets, to developing, you know, starting out, to getting to the point where they're getting there. They're in their struggle of like, how do they get to consistent profitability? It's by far a process, and I just think it takes a special person. I'm not saying I'm special, but I mean in general. Just from my experience with them, I mean,
beat downs, because you get beat down a lot.
Special person to figure it out. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone makes it, and that's just the truth of it.
Yeah. Would you say that there is here's what I want. Here's where I'm going with this. So I follow you on Twitter, right? And I saw you.
I follow you too.
Oh, nice. I saw you post something, or you said something. I'm paraphrasing here. I don't remember exactly, but I agree with you that you said something about like there's like cliches in the market where you'll never go broke taking a profit, right? And I love that you said that, because I'm like, when I see people say these cliches, sometimes I'm just thinking like, if you just take anything out of context and just, you know, sure, that might work for certain occasions, but like overall, I just didn't agree with that either. So I wanted to get your point of view. Could you elaborate what you mean by that? Like when people say like, because people say all the time, they'll say, you never go broke taking a profit. And I'm like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, right? You can. Like, anyone that's traded before is like, wait a minute. At best, that is like highly an incomplete thought.
Yes.
Like
there's
so
no
much
sentence to that.
There might be more to it, and then that could make sense.
Right.
But like as it stands by itself, I'm just like, I'm sick of people repeating it. I mean, that's just me though. I don't know.
I agree. Though. Can you explain? Because people who are new don't understand. Like you've been trading for 15 years, so like, what do you mean by that? Like, can you elaborate? I agree with you, but I want you, if you can tell me your point of view on what do you mean by
like that one specifically?
Yeah, that one specifically. Like, because someone's watching this and they're probably like, you know what, Alex, I don't agree with y'all. and that's fine if you don't agree. That's totally fine.
All right.
But like, I'm just curious.
I'll
like,
hit that one right on the head. Here you go. Take me, consistently not profitable for 8 years.
Yep.
And you can't go broke. Nobody goes broke taking a profit. I didn't just lose. And it's not like I never had a winning trade in those 8 years.
Yep.
So it's like to have that mentality of, oh, I'm up, I'm green. No one's going to go broke taking it. I'll take this profit. I'll book it. I mean, you're not catching moves that you need to be catching. You're short. You're not maximizing your winners.
Yeah.
There's another one also, like maximize your winners, like cut your losers and let your winners run.
Yep.
That's something I can get behind. That makes sense to me. That stands on its own. I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's a good maxim.
Is there anything that sticks out of your mind that's like something that traders ask you? Because I'm sure you get DMs and people ask you all kinds of questions.
My favorite one to this day is the DMs I get to this day, and they're like, "What broker are you with?" And I'm like, "They're called 7 Points." Like, that's the broker I'm with.
Yeah. Is there a question that you get that is very common from new traders who think that if they get the answer to that question, that's the way to profits? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe it kind of sounds like you're touching on the whole concept of the Holy Grail, right? In search of like...
Sure. I mean, I was just curious.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of traders out there that are struggling and they feel like they're close to making it, right?
Yes.
Close to consistent profitability.
Yes.
But they feel like they're knocking on the door.
Yes.
But they can't open the door. And they're trying to figure out, like, what do I need to do to get on the other side of this damn door? And
what have you found that is the real answer behind that? Why can't they get on the other side of the door?
Themselves, literally, right? I mean, it's, in my mind, in my experience, in my opinion, or whatever.
Elaborate, like, because you have a strategy, right? Everyone has strategies. Everyone trades. But what do you mean, like, themselves? Like, you get in your way? Can you give an example, like, how that could happen to you, like, in the past when you were trading something?
It happens to me all the time to this day. I mean, think of a really great setup.
Yep.
That is just, it's uncommon. It's not an everyday event. You know the setup's rare. You know it's got amazing reward there.
Yep.
You know it's a big trade. You know there's a big trade there. And you just butcher it. You mess it up, like you get ahead of yourself, you put on too much size, every tick now, you're too big,
Yep.
You can't withstand, like you set the risk, you're adjusting your risk, you're changing your plan in the trade. There's hundreds of ways you could butcher a phenomenal setup, man. There's endless ways. There's endless ways. In my mind, those all go into the bucket of he or she just got in their own way.
Yep.
I mean...
Do you feel like
when you know how to trade? I mean, there's like if you're trading well, you're going to catch that. You're going to catch that setup.
Yes.
If you're trading well, but we don't always trade well. And even when you make it, and it's still a progressive.
It's an ongoing battle. Like every level, This is why I love that you said that, because at every level, I'm nowhere near like the experience of you. I have a lot of traders been on the show. Like I'm still growing myself every day, but like. What I am noticing for me, and I'm sure it sounded like you hit on it, like every time I go up another level of risk, it's like I'm facing the same demons I faced back in the day.
That's the beauty of it.
And it's just always facing them.
And I think that's a great thing because it's the same game you're playing with yourself. It's like push, plateau.
Yep.
Struggle, right? Like you're pulling, you hit the ceiling and you're like, nope, can't go anymore. And you pull back or whatever, and like now you're in the struggle. Maybe you're not struggling, but I mean, like you clearly hit some resistance, right? You went as far as you could propel yourself, and now you plateaued. Like now you're at this level, right? And now you're digesting this level, and now it's like, what does it take now to process, digest this level, be comfortable at this level before you start and you're ready to push again before you hit the next plateau, like the next level up, right?
Yeah.
It's endless, man.
It is.
But the beauty of it, in my mind, is it's the same process at each level. It's the same game, like you highlighted, Yeah. It's the same things you're familiar with. It's just different numbers. Just like different size,
level
different
10
risk.
Level 11, level 12. It's the same guy over and over, just different levels. And I think that's what makes it fun, right? It's because like it's always challenging.
Right.
And we talked about this off camera a little bit, that you look forward to Mondays.
Oh yeah.
But you brought up yourself. You're like, but you know what, Alex? I look forward to the weekend too.
I do, man. And I know that's contrary to a lot of traders out there.
Explain, like,
I hate the weekends. You know, it's like, and I get it. I mean, I understand why they're saying it. Trust me, I love this line of work, and I get it. I completely get it. But
it's good to recharge.
It's necessary. It's not just good, man. I think it's necessary to recharge. Imagine if you can't stop. I mean, you're obsessed, you know, it's like a passionate thing you're about. You can't walk, you're just always on the pedal. You're just always going. So a forced break, weekends, in my mind, is like a forced break.
Yeah.
It's a great way to recharge. It's a great way to reset. It's a great way to, what a week, you know, like that sucked, or that was amazing, or whatever it was.
So glad it's over. Like,
now it's the weekend.
Yep.
You know, for me, I'm a family man. You know, I got a wife. I got three boys, and it's like, it's a beautiful thing. I love the weekend. I love it.
I love it.
I'm all about it. And that's the gist of it. It's just necessary.
I love what you said. It's necessary, and then you even use the word forced break. Like, it's a forced break, right? It's the weekend. Has there been times where you've had to give yourself like a forced break? And if so, like, how, like, why did you do it? And why did you do it? Why did you do it? And how did you make yourself stick to it?
So, I mean, my first thought of you bringing that up is like, I trade with a firm.
Yes.
And we have a lockout. So everyone in the firm has a lockout. So it's like you're allowed, and everyone's lockout is different. You know what I mean?
Max loss.
Yeah, max loss. Daily max loss is essentially what this is.
Super important.
Yeah. Like when I was retail, I didn't have that, and game changer for my trading, literally game changer. But you know, if I hit my lock and I get locked out, okay, fine. You know, next day, go for, you know, that's okay. There's always tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's always the next session. So go for it. And if I get locked out 2 sessions in a row, something's not right with my head, my something. I mean, something's not like it should be. So if I get locked out 2 days in a row, it's like I take a day off, because I'm like, I need time to. It's a forced timeout. It's like, you know, Katz calls it the penalty box. Yeah. You know, I put myself in the penalty box, to use his words, because it's like, it's helpful to reprocess. You know, it's like the same thing as that's happening over the weekend, right? It's like now I might be watching the markets all day long, but I'm not pressing buttons. And so little things like that.
It's important because it gives you time to breathe and kind of like get out of the emotional state. Yeah. You know, right? Because I think that's super important, right? So you can evaluate away from it. Yeah. What's going on?
I mean, the thing is, man, is like, we all know how to trade. Maybe not. Maybe that's an overstatement.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. For the most part.
I definitely know how to, I definitely know what I'm doing. But if I'm not doing well, exactly. If I'm not doing well, something's not right. And there could be a thousand reasons why. But
not enough sleep.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Stubbed my toe before I walked in. Endless. I lost in the video game last night.
Endless things. I mean, that doesn't. Anyway, but and taking time off to reset is a great thing. Yep. You know, I think, and beyond that, having an outlook that is like, look, we're not just trying to. I see so many traders. They're like so interested in like the short term. They're so short term focused, and it's like, have an outlook where if you really love doing this, and this is what you really want to do for a living, and this is something you want to do forever, that's a long time. You know, one trade or one day or even 1 week, or I'll venture out to say even 1 month. It doesn't matter. It's not going to make a difference in the grand scheme.
It's a drop in the bucket.
It's nothing. But we get so caught up as market timers, I think, of timing the market. It like our lens becomes so short term, and it's like you don't look very far. It's like have a wider outlook. You know, a lot of people say zoom out. It's okay. Take a day off.
Take
half a day off. Just
put yourself in the penalty box.
It's FOMO. You know, you don't want to miss anything. You don't, I knew if I was around my desk, I would have slammed that, or I would have killed that opportunity. I would have done great. It's okay. You missed one opportunity out of how many that are going to be in your trading career.
Absolutely.
It's like people get so upset about it. It's like, I mean, I do too. I've been known to get upset and be like, I would have killed that thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just one opportunity. There's endless. It's going to be endless. And
I love what you said that. It's like zoom out or like think big picture, right? Because so many of us, when you're new, especially, I don't know about you, but for me, I can speak for myself. Like when you get into trading, for the first reason for me at first was money. Like I was like, I want to make money, so I'm like trying to get there quick. And then I found out the hard way. About the hard way. It's like, nah, I want to get good at trading first. And that's when you start to do things right. But it's a good reminder to people out there who's just like, take time. Like one trade. We were talking about Mike Bella, just his book, One Good Trade. And it's just have that one good trade, and then if it doesn't work out, oh well, there's plenty of trades coming around the corner. There's plenty coming. Like, don't have that FOMO.
It's a great concept for when you're in a drawdown. Finding your footing and being like, okay, and just rebuilding the confidence and like getting out of it. Now, some people slam their way out of a drawdown.
Yes.
Other people grind their way out of a drawdown, and other people really crawl out of a drawdown.
True.
But everyone's different. But I will say, I just want to say one thing. You mentioned when you started trading because of money.
Yeah, at first, yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's greedy, or like.
No, I think that's why everyone starts.
I mean, right?
Like, no matter what, that's why you start.
That's literally like yeah, I get it. I agree. But I think when you start hitting a point, it becomes, and it's part of like the evolution of someone's journey or trading career. You know what I mean? Like you hit a point where it's less about the money and more about the challenge of the process of like trading on a day in and day out basis. And the money just becomes a byproduct of good trading.
Yep.
And there's a lot of benefits to that. Because being focused on the money has a lot of limitations, obviously.
Do you want to hit on that a little bit about what you mean? Like there's a lot more benefits to that?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, my first thought is like when you're focused on the money, you're going to be making poor decisions, right? So if you're trying to scale up, if you're trying to reach a certain size, I mean, if you're looking to trade 7 figures of shares on a daily basis, for example, or like, I mean, there's like wildly bigger traders than me in the firm. But I think just generally, I'm losing my train of thought.
When you're focused on the money, you just make poor decisions.
Focusing on the money, yeah. I mean, that's really what it's about.
Focus on process.
Yeah.
But you said something else too, man, that really stood out to me. Okay, and that was earlier. You said, when we brought up the word max loss, and you were like, you emphasize like super important. Like I didn't have that. Like that's super important. Can you elaborate? Like for people who don't know what that is, and why is it? Because you emphasized it, and I was like, okay, we got to hit that. So why are you so focused on how?
I think it's a very powerful. I think it's an extremely powerful. I mean, in a way, it's like an edge in itself.
For those who don't know, what's a max loss? For those who don't know,
a max loss is like you draw down a certain amount on the day, and game over
for the day. You're done.
You can't press buttons anymore. You're done. Game over for the day. You can come back tomorrow and try again.
And why? I mean, for some people, I think it's huge, right? Because there's some they don't have that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of if you have discipline issues, it's a nice safety net. Absolutely, because it prevents you from wrecking yourself, right?
Yep. And like you said earlier, it's like this is about a marathon, you know?
Yeah.
Like I want to be here for the race, not just like stop after the first 100 yards and just pass out.
In trading, it's so easy to get ahead of yourself, get yourself in situations where you got that short-term outlook and you're just messing things up because you're not focused on like a larger picture.
Do you do anything to help you stay present and to help you stay focused in the moment rather than thinking about what happened on the last trade and what could happen in the future? Like, is there anything in your routine or anything that you think about while you're trading or anything like that?
I mean, I don't necessarily think so. Okay. I mean, just being focused on the same process every day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, I know it's like you can think of a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Pick your sport, golf, or a pitcher in baseball. You know, a pitcher in baseball is like, how many pitches is he throwing when he finally gets on the mound for the game? I mean, thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds. I mean, his muscle memory is just over and over and over. If he's right-handed, that right arm of his just knows exactly what he's doing. And that's why he's able to do what he does.
So your routine, your process, your routine is doing so much over and
over again.
But it makes
your body and your mind to be like recognizing what you're seeing in the market and knowing like opportunity or not. Do I want to participate or not? This is a good spot or not?
Yep.
I want to start scaling here or not? Just so many aspects to it.
Do you mainly just short?
Mainly I do.
Mainly do. Do you feel like you're long on bias at all in any market, or sometimes you are?
I mean, if I should be. I mean, there's a lot of the times the trades I know where I punch out of it and I know it's dangerous and I know I need to get out really like right now or really soon. Mm-hmm. This is not like, it's like red alert's like, you know, everything's going off and it's like, I got to get out of the way here. You're sized in and like, you know, you're about to get like wrecked if you just wait and find out what's going to happen. Right. Those are the trades when I just know with certainty that I'm about to get ripped a new one or smoked, to protect myself, that I wish I know to stop out. I know to like rip out of it and eat my losses on it. But like the step beyond that would be like, I wish I'd be buying more and getting long right there, because I know there's a whole bunch of shorts in there like I was who are going to do the whole like, I want to wait and find out thing, and they're going to get smoked.
So you would be like, is it safe to say 75% short most of the cases or more?
Like 95 probably.
Okay. So 95. As a trader, because people are watching this and they're probably thinking like, man, I like Nico, like I only long, like I want to learn how to short, or I only short, I want to learn how to long. But here you are, you know, you're successful trading, you've been trading for quite some time, and you focus mainly on shorting. Do you feel like that could be, and totally, I'm just very curious, man. Do you feel like you'd ever want to adapt or ever find yourself needing to become more long bias, or do you ever think that way? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think about it. I mean, just what I was talking about, you know, I think there's just certain situations that happen where I'm like, I know I could just pile in there long and just do it. But it's riding the squeeze for me, and I'm just reluctant. I hesitate, and I always feel like as soon as I get long or I load up long, it's gonna drop and the floor is gonna just disappear, and it's that reluctancy to do that. But that's something I need to work on for sure.
Have you
that's something I've been working on for like literally years, and I'm still like nowhere closer to doing it.
Well, it's awesome. Like,
I know that, and I'll get there.
I love that though. I love that about you, because there's a lot of traders like that. Tons. I'm sure there's a ton of traders that who are, like, as you mentioned, like much bigger traders than you, that trade mainly a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay, like, you're going to have your strengths, right? You're going to have your weaknesses. Is there any way you plan to approach longs in the future to maybe get better at it? Just so, because I'm curious if there's an approach you're trying to take that you're just working on. Because maybe someone who's short bias too, when they practice long, maybe they'd be like, I could try like thinking that way when I'm approaching it, or something like that.
I think a lot of it has to do with like market state too.
Okay.
Like the state of I like trading, smaller cap markets. Mm-hmm. So those move a certain way, and those are typically not correlated with a bigger market or the market in general.
Yeah.
And they go through certain cycles, and there's certain times it's okay. The water's safer to be long, so to speak, than others. Yep. And when you're in a big hyped up situational, where the market environment's a certain way, I know I'm missing out on some more profits by not participating in that, and I know I should be.
But no plan on how you would approach the long side if you want.
I mean, I at least need to just get in there with a little bit of size just
Right.
to like participate.
Right,
And that's
right.
what it is. It's really just slowly you start building the muscle and
Yep.
go, okay, well, at least I'm small. And like, all right, now I want to get bigger and that kind of thing. You know, it's like I liken it to, you know, when you don't take the meat of the move, say you pike out
Yes.
constantly or all the time or very frequently, and you know, if you would have just held longer, you would have made more money.
Right.
But you don't. Why not?
Right.
You know what I mean? So how do you break free of that habit?
How?
I mean, for me, a big part of it was like baby steps. Yeah, right? I mean, yeah, right?
I'm in it. Put that stop in, just go.
Yeah, baby steps of like, okay, I'm going to get out the bulk of my size here. I'm going to take partials here, but I'm going to leave a small piece on because I've been tracking it. Maybe you have the data to back it up and you go, and you know what? At the end of the day,
it's going to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be so much lower if I'm short. So I'm going to start writing that with at least a little bit. And it's starting to like,
increase.
Because you're literally lying to yourself. If you're literally gathering the data and you have the data to prove it,
yep.
and you know what's going on, you're just cheating yourself. So when you start seeing the numbers, the data over and over, and you're the one tracking it, you're the one putting it in the spreadsheet,
you kind of start hitting yourself. You're like, what am I doing?
It's only a matter of time before you're like, what, am I blind? Like, I even know the answer and I'm still not doing it. Like, no, I'm going to start doing it. Like, there's a point where you just get over it and you just start doing what you know you need to do.
And I love that you said that, because that just takes us back to, you got to be in this game long enough to witness that long enough to be able to make a decision to just say, you know what, I've seen this so many times. I'm putting the data in every day that I just need to start doing this. And that comes down to like what we talked about, the max loss, like having rules in place to keep you in this game so you can find what works for you.
Right.
And now, before we start to wrap this up, Nico, I want to ask you one more question, and I'd love for you to just tell people where they can find you if you'd like. But the main thing is, if you yourself, let's say you just met a new trader, right? Let's say I'm the new trader, right? I came up to you and be like, Nico, golly, I look up to you so much, Nico. I follow you on Twitter. I watch all those. Anything you talk about, I love. I'm really struggling right now, Nico. I'm really trying to figure out, like I know what works for me, but I just keep blowing up with like just random moves. Like, is there anything you could tell someone who's like complaining or explaining this situation that might be able to help them?
Yeah, it's an odd thing, because it's like, here's someone saying, I know exactly what I need to do, basically, and I'm still not doing it. Right. So it's like, you got to get over yourself. You know what I mean? If someone comes to you and they're like, this is the problem, and I know the solution, but I'm not doing it.
Yes.
It's like, well, I'm not going to be much help to you. Right. I got nothing to add to that. You literally just told me you know what you need to do and you're not doing it. Like,
how common is that, though? That's common.
Oh, it's so common.
So common.
It's so common. And I think that's because everyone's like hung up on their own hang-ups.
Yeah, or
whatever it is.
Yeah,
I mean, they're getting in the way of themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just overcoming all that to trading. The mechanics of trading are not really that complex. I mean, there's really not a lot to it on a superficial level. You know what I mean? It's not like this deep thing. I think the depth comes from the mental aspect of doing it, growing, pushing, plateauing, struggling, and just doing that over and over and over again.
Struggle until you get it, like your grandfather said. You gotta go through it.
Yeah.
And if you can't make it through the struggle, then you ain't gonna make it to the other side. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
He loved it, man. He was like, it's all about the struggle. Everyone benefits from the struggle. He was so obsessed with the struggle in general.
Sounds smart. I like it.
He was like, dude, he was amazing, man.
Well, let me ask you this, Nico. If anyone wanted to like find you on social media, or, by the way, I completely forgot to say this at the beginning, but everyone knows, if they don't know already, Nico trades with a great firm, 7 Points Capital. But if you'd like to let them know like where they can find you, whether it's on Twitter, whatever, just let them know real quick, and then we're pretty much done.
I'm on Twitter at inefficient MRKT is my thing. 7 Points is on Twitter. I think it's at 7 points cap.
Yep, that's what it is.
Is it?
Yep, and we'll link that below.
Okay, cool.
But look, Nico, hey,
Oh, man.
it was a great time,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, good to see
Appreciate
you,
it.
brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank